Alright, hey guys, it's Waris here, and I'm back with another cubing commentary. This one's mainly just going to be kind of a SCC Winter 2018 recap. This is just me doing I just sat and did my first 50 solves of the day. So there's some really good solves in there, and there's some really bad solves in there. But this is just mainly to give you guys a backdrop for my recap of the competition, kind of talk about how I did and how the day was in general, and just kind of what to expect from other stuff. I have a weird superstition about recording my solves, and so I stopped recording my solves like a really long time ago. And then I tried doing it again, and I just wasn't. It just was not worth. I do bad, and so I don't. I just don't like. And then I just sit there and try to record solves, and it's for nothing really. And then I turn around and like 4x4, 5x5, I hold it like sort of in my lap when I solve, so it doesn't even come on camera. And Megaminx is the same way. So I don't bother recording my solves, but I can at least talk about different things and talk about you know, how I did in the day, the wet, and everything like that. So first off, I entered in. So there was cube 2, 3, 4, 3 one hand, pyramid square one. Excuse me. Those are the events of the day. I entered in everything but Scube. I entered Pyraminx even though I don't do Pyraminx. I haven't done a Pyraminx average officially since like 2013 or 2012. So I just whatever, I don't care, I'll just do it. Because I thought I was going to buy Pyraminx by the time between when I registered for this competition and whenever it was, and I never did. So I ended up borrowing a friend of mine's Megaminx, or not Megaminx, sorry, Pyraminx. So I almost dropped it. I'm like, you know what, I don't care, I'll just do it. But the first thing in the morning, got there early, got there a little after 7. We set up. You know, I want to give a shout out to Jared. He's the guy that hosts the competition. He made it really nice for setup. One thing that I have a big gripe of for people, competitors, as someone who does a lot of help with in terms of running the competition. I don't organize, but I definitely run, I definitely scramble, I definitely judge. Someone who is a staff on a competition, it's really important that if you're on a certain side, you have heats 1 and 2 going at the same time, and one's on the right hand side and one's on the left hand side, it's super important to stay on your side, and when somebody calls you that you're there and you can hear them and you can go do your solves, because you know, my biggest thing is getting things run effectively. So shout outs to Jared for making one side blue tables with blue cloths and then the other side red, and so we can say, oh, this heat's on the blue side or this heat's on the red side, and it just made it very clear for people that know, okay, well, I know what side I'm on because I'm on the red side or blue side or whatever. So shout out to him for that. Also shout out to him for actually making staff schedules. I don't think we followed them the best, but still, just saying, hey, you're going to run this time, you're going to scramble this time, you're going to do this time, and, breaking it up evenly and, giving us breaks and stuff like that. Just shout out to him for that. It was really fantastic, actually. So, we get there, we set up, we're getting ready, we you know, do the normal stuff, we do the new competitive tutorial and kind of show people, hey, this is how to do everything. You know how comp goes. First event was Scube. I think Scube's really dumb. Not gonna lie, so I didn't bother entering it. I learned how to solve it the day beforehand, but yeah, it's kind of a dumb thing. Whatever. But it's fine. My biggest thing with Cube is a bunch of people do it. It's the next most done thing after 3x3, and it's just really obnoxious. But whatever, it's fine. Cube gets done. I do first round of 2x2. Now I didn't practice hardly anything for this competition, especially 2x2. I actually don't do a whole lot of 2x2 in general. And so I start off with a 254. I'm like, holy crap, this is a really good solve for me. I average probably 3 or 4 seconds. My official average is a low 3, I think. But hey, with a 2.5, pretty good. Next solve is 513. I'm like, whatever. Next solve is 266. So then I'm kind of hyped because I'm like, this is awesome. This is the first time I've gotten 2 2s, right? I think I've got a 202. I have a 202 single, but this is the first time in the same average. So I'm like, okay. Next sub ends up being a 437, so I'm like, okay, well, let me get a 3, it'll be a 3 average, it'll be fine. And then I get a 359, but I plus 2 it, so I ended up with a 559, so I ended up with a 405 average. It wasn't really that great, but I didn't practice, so I really didn't care, it wasn't that big a deal. After 2x2, we ended up doing 4x4. Now, 4x4, I had got a Wuchwei, magnetic Wuchwei, cubical Wuchwei for my birthday, and / Christmas. Shout out to Potts for that cube. And I was, you know, practicing a little bit. I probably maybe did 50 solves on it between when I got it, which was a week and a half before the competition, maybe 2 weeks before the competition. And I'm like, okay, like I really like this cube. It's really fun to solve on, but I'm getting about the same time, so I'll just try it, whatever. So the very first solve, I sit down, and again, like I haven't, like I've broken in a bit, but I haven't like sat there and done like extensive, like practice for 4x4. And keep in mind, my last 4x4 PB average was like in 2013. It was like a 44, which at home I was averaging like 41, 42 maybe. I've gotten like low 40 or high 39, like high 30s average. Like I think I have that 37 average on video, which was crazy, but like that's the only time I've ever done that. So I sit down, first solve, I think his PLL parity is a 4072. So like, okay, good, this is good. I'm pretty happy about this. Next solve is OLL parity, 3588. And I'm like, what the heck? It was crazy. I was so excited. I'm like, because that's comp PB. I think my PB at home is 30, may have gotten a 32. I know I've got a couple 34s. So close to actual personal PB. Was super hyped about it. Like 35, 88, PLL or OLL parity. Like, let's go. I was crushing it. Next solve after that was a 3627. So I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, I am crushing it. So now I have a counting 36. Hype. Next solve after that is the 3969. So I'm like, I'm sub 30, like sub 40, like I'm sub 40 automatically. So I think may have had PLO parity on that one as well. But I was like, I'm guaranteed sub 40, which I didn't think I was gonna do. I was super hyped about it. I was super excited about it. Last solve was 3858, so I ended up with a 3818 average. I popped off, man. It was like, that was just, it was amazing. Like I was so excited. Oh, I just got a really, really bad 3x3 solve here. I'm not looking at the video as it's going, so I just flip back to it. But, yeah, I'm super excited about it. Like, I was crushing it. I don't know where that came from, but I am part have to think that my cube was awesome, so I don't know. I was super hyped about that. It was awesome, so I ended up getting second place. Behind David Woner, he ended up with a 37, 46 average, so good stuff to him. Hit a 34 single. And then James Hildreth, which is the first time I've met him, even though we've been cubing for almost the same amount of time. So shout out to him too. He got a 39 average, 39.58 average. So we actually all sub 40 podium, pretty good. So after running off that high, I go into 3x3, and 3x3 traditionally is something I don't do really well in. Something I put a lot of practice in it, and I just don't do too well in. So my first solve ends up being a 1451. I'm like, okay, whatever, just let it go. Second solve is 941, so I'm like, good, okay. And so I've kind of come to the point where, like, I really expect myself I want to sub 11. I've I always put this pressure to continue to try to sub 10, but I don't ever do it, and I screw up, and it, just puts me in this bad mental space. So I'm like, if I can sub 11, I'll be happy. We'll just, and whatever, it's fine. By the way, for this 3x3, I'm using a non-magnetic Volk 3, so I have some opinion about that. I'll get to that a little later, but that's the cube I'm using. And the thing is this always happens too, is I sit there and I did like 6 solves maybe, and it was a 9, 9, 9, 10, 9, and an 8. So I'm like, okay, I'm good, like, let's go. And then I get to the thing and I screw up. So my third solve ends up being 1162, which I'm like, whatever, I'll get a couple 10s and have a 10 average and it'll be fine. Next solve ends up being a 1094, so I'm like, okay, I'll just get another, get a 9 or 10, we'll be good. And then I get a 1554, so I'm like, God, like, just so, end up with a 1236 average. Really bad for me, but, hey, it is what it is, it just, so, I was like 12th place in that round. We had lunch, so after lunch, we ended up doing square one, which is the thing that I was really, like, that's the event that I cared the most about, because I put all this time into square one. I wanted to destroy my last average. My last average a couple months ago, ended up being about like a 22-ish, like a 20 single. So I'm like, oh, I could get like a 17 average and like a 14 or 15 single. So that's what I really had in my head, that like I'm gonna just try to do really well. And the first solve I ended up with a 24, and I'm like, this is terrible. Like, I was just so thrown off. I was really shaky. I don't know. And then the next solve was a 24, and I'm like, okay. This is a wash. This is bad. Next solve was a 17, which I felt pretty, 1704, which ended up being comp PB. So I'm like, okay, well, 18 and then a 21. So those solves ended up being close to average. The first two were not. So I ended up with a 2188 average and a 1704 single, which are technically comp PBs. I mean, they're comp PBs, but it wasn't where I wanted to be. And so, I have this weekend coming up I have another cube competition this weekend, so I'll, you know, try to do better then. But you know, it's whatever. But that kind of put me down. I was still really happy about 4x4 though. I was still hyped off 4x4 that like I could fail the rest of the day, and I was still pretty excited about 4x4. So, you know, could have been worse. Whatever. Next event was Pyraminx. Up until about Pyraminx started, I'm like, I'm not going to do Pyraminx. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just do Pyraminx, whatever. So, I hadn't solved the Pyraminx in several years. I had like a 10 average, or a 10 single with like a 12 average. So I hadn't solved Pyraminx in like literally like several years. So I'm like, let me just do it, whatever. So I ended up getting 46th. My first solve was a 26, 36. I forgot what I was doing. The next solve was a 1504. Solve after that was a 2053. Next solve after that was a 1038, which ended up being comp PB, and then the final solve was 1136. Which towards the end I started figuring out, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do in here, and then you know it was fine. So it was just kind of fun. I was like, whatever, but got a comp PB single, so I'll take it. After Pyraminx was one-handed, which again, one-handed is something I don't really practice. I have a like a 20. I had like a high 20 point something single or average with like a 15 singles. So it's like one hand's like something, you know, like when I was really practicing, I could average around 19 or 18 when I was like really on. But for the most part, it's something I never really practiced. I was like, whatever. So I go up there, I do my first solve, it was in 1938. I'm like, okay, cool. Next solve's a 20. I'm like, all right, cool. Next solve, I get to PLL and it's a G perm, and I just screw it up and I try to fix it. And by the time I'm be like, you know, I'm fixing it. And I look up and it's like 35 seconds. I'm like, I'm just going to DNF this, whatever. You know, I was like, it's going to be my worst solve, whatever. Next solve, that's a 20, 74, and the final solve is a 1940. So I ended up with a 20-22 average, which I'm now, like after the fact, I was kind of mad because I'm like, if I'd actually did pretty well on that middle solve, I could have sub 20 because that's the comp PB average. So I was happy about that, but I was kind of upset that it didn't, you know, I messed up that middle solve and had to DNF it. I always end up plus 2ing and DNFing in my comps. Like, I always get a 1 DNF and at least a 1 plus 2 every single competition. It's kind of just the way it goes. So, I guess it had to be there. So next we have 3x3 round 2. And 3x3 round 2 did a little better. I ended up 8th that round. I ended up with the first solve being an 11, 62. Then I had a 1064. 12, 13, I don't know if I plus 2'd this round or not. Maybe I didn't. A 10, 12, and a 1045. So it was pretty average with a 1090 average. You know, it's fine, whatever. I'll take it. But, you know, it's fine. Nothing, you know, nothing crazy there. We did, after that, the final round of 2x2, which was crazy to me. So the final round 2x2, I ended up with a 314, a 304, a 394, a 512, and a 359. So I'm like, cool. Like, and you know, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I got a bunch of 3s. That's fine. I ended up getting 3rd place. So that was crazy to me. Whenever I knew 4x4 I had gotten 2nd way before, but we did this so late in the day. Like, I'm listening to David call out the awards, and he's like, Waris Ali for 3rd place in 2x2. I'm like, holy crap, this, I don't know, like, aside from, like, a really, really long time ago, this may be the first time I've podiumed in 2x2. So, I didn't practice 2x2, ended up doing really well, didn't practice 3x3 one-handed, did pretty well, and didn't practice 4x4 a whole lot, and did pretty well, so I was pretty excited about that. And then finally, we had 3x3 final round, and that went better than it had before. So the first solve ended up being 1121. The second solve was a 1039, so I'm like, that's fine. The next solve was an 1130, then 1177, and then 960. So, you know, it ended up being a high 10 average. I sub 11. I'm okay with that. I ended up at 6th place. I don't know if I said that already or not, but you know, it was whatever. That's where I'm hovering around the past several competitions. I've been like between like 5th or like 6th and 8th. So that's kind of where I'm hovering around now, which is fine. But I used my Volk the whole day. I almost switched to a little Magic, but it didn't really work out too well in my practicing. So I'm like, I'm just going to go back to the Volk. But, you know, I had a really good time at the competition. I was very exhausted by the end of the day. It's just very tiring. My hands felt worn out. But I had a good time. In the video right now, you're actually watching me use a magnetic GTS 2. It's like the factory made one. I just scripted this cross really bad. And it's what I traditionally have been using for one hand. But I'm like, let me try this out for two-hand, and I'm really, really enjoying it for two-hand. So I think this weekend I'm gonna try it for 3x3 this weekend at cubing for kids. So I'll do a recap video for that as well. But that's pretty much it. Had a really good time in the competition. I think we're gonna go back hopefully in the summer and do another SCC. It's a really good venue. If you're in the area, come through. If you're in the area for this weekend, come through. I don't know if the registration's full. We have another comp here in Kansas City, barbecuing. Later in early March, mid-March. So actually it's on St. Patrick's Day, so come through on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in another video, and yeah, see. I honestly don't know if that caught the audio or not, so I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!